What's up, family? It's Kevin Breckenridge, founder and CEO of 317 Capital, and welcome to another edition of Road to Icon. It's actually Sunday night. Today is Sunday, August 7th, and it's 9:16 p.m., and we're just pretty much finishing up the day, getting ready to call it a night and get ready for a strong week of prospecting. Today, what I wanted to talk about was actually our 941 property challenge. I'll repeat that, our 941 property challenge. So I have a lot of data, a lot of owner information, contact phone numbers, names, property addresses. I have a lot of information. And one of the things that I have to do is I have to take that information and I've got to actually make something happen out of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a list. We've got a list here, 12 pages. There are 941 multifamily property owners on this list throughout the District of Columbia. And what we're going to do over the next, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, I don't know how much time it's going to take us, but that's part of the challenge. How long is it going to take us to make 941 property dials or calls? Now, there are a lot of repeat owners. One thing you'll realize as you dig deeper into multifamily sales, investment sales, or acquisitions, there are a smaller group of players in that particular space. There's a smaller pool of buyers, a smaller pool of sellers, a smaller pool of investors, a smaller pool of practitioners. So you'll find that a lot of people actually own multiple properties, and they could own commercial multifamily as well as residential multifamily. They can own both, or sometimes they only own residential and sometimes they only own commercial. But nonetheless, although there are 941 properties on this list, I don't actually know how many property owners that's going to amount to. So let me tell you, as I break this list down, some of the things that we're doing. I've already gone through the list. I'll go through the list again, especially as I'm calling, and I'll look out for repeat owners because I've already looked at and researched and called so many commercial property owners. I have a pretty clear idea of who are the repeat owners, the bigger players, who owns multiple properties throughout the city, so I can recognize their name and know whether or not that's going to be a first-time dial or if I need to hold off on calling that person at a later point in time as a follow-up phone call. So I'll scan through that list, and then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually start calling the phone numbers that I have for each individual. Now, typically I would do some research, but this list is actually 4-unit property owners. When it's 4-unit property owners, unless I recognize the name or somewhere in the data that I'm looking at between mostly the email addresses, if I see someone who looks like they're more of a professional investor, I'll hold off, I'll do some prospect research. But for the most part, when you're doing 4-unit owners, unless they're professional investors, you don't really need to do a lot of research. You just really need to make sure that your opening statement is strong and that you have a strong reason for calling. So 4-unit owners are actually a lot easier to get through because you don't have to do as much prospect research. So I'll go through the list, I'll look at the phone numbers, I'll look at the emails, and then I'll start making calls. And I want to tell you basically what my 3 objectives are. I've got 3 primary objectives. My first objective is I want to verify that I have a correct phone number. How do you do that? You either talk to the actual person or you talk to someone who knows them, maybe a spouse, maybe a brother, maybe a sister. And if it's not the right number, see if you can get them to give you the right number, because sometimes they will. The second objective is I actually want to set up a meeting. My opening statement is strong enough and convincing enough in this particular set of phone calls that I can set up a first meeting off of a first phone call. Now, if you can't get the first meeting, that's okay. A lot of people say, no, we don't need to meet. Well, that's great. That leads to my third objective. My third objective is to get an email. I want to get an email address so that I can send them my contact information, but more importantly, so that I can continue to build the relationship through email, through sending out newsletters and other types of digital communication. So that's it for today, the 941 property challenge. We're going to go through this list. We're going to call all of the property owners on the list. We'll set some aside for follow-up phone calls or further research, and then we'll see how long it actually takes us to get through those 941 properties. And then of course we'll move on to the next list, and we'll see how many how many owners we actually talk to, how many meetings we actually set up, how many emails we actually get, and more importantly, how many opportunities do we create for follow-up opportunities, follow-up conversations, eventually proposals, and hopefully eventually an exclusive listing representation. So that's it for today. We're getting ready to get ready for a strong week. I hope you had a great weekend. Prepare for this week, prepare for tomorrow, and let's knock it out on the phones this week. All right, that's it. Take care.